Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and I'm here to review Below Zero. And this is a new crime thriller that's on Netflix right now. As the time I was watching it, apparently it was the #1 film on Netflix, so apparently this struck a chord with people. This Spanish language film about a police officer who's part of a prison transfer. In the middle of the night, things get violent, they're assaulted, and things go awry. And this film is directed and written partially by Luis Quiles, who I'm not aware of the rest of his work, but this film is a really solid film. And Quiles does a nice job of creating tension and building suspense and making the most of its different set pieces, because a decent chunk of this film is set inside this van that you have prisoners stuck in, and they're doing some crazy things to it. They're shooting it, they're leaking gasoline in to set people on fire. There's set piece of like they get run into a lake and it starts filling up with water. You have all these different scenarios, and they're all well shot and put together to build the necessary tension. And as a thriller, this film works. And going into Below Zero, if that's what you're looking for, I think this definitely delivers. It gives you some thrills. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing crazy over the top. Like, I'm not talking about like John Wick level of action film where it's like it's an art form to create this violence and action. It's a serviceable, well put together, solid thriller. And in terms of character, you have at the center of this lead character, Martin, played by Javier Gutierrez, who is a really fine anchor to this film. And he is put into so many different situations, and he's like an everyman. He's not somebody particularly interesting or particularly different, but he is our person at the center of the film that's put in this situation that has to deal with a lot of morally ambiguous and gray scenarios. What do you do if a prisoner is lit on fire and your orders are not to open these doors? Do you open them? Do you save them? Do you put yourself in a situation where you lose the power in the scenario? And there's at least one of the prisoners, Ramos, played by Luis Calejo, who is one that is pushing for a little bit of power and in struggle in the film and jockeying for position. Because there's that level. Martin's trying to keep his control in the situation to do his job, but what does he need to do to be able to keep them alive? And you have those moments. You have some fake out deaths, you have some fake out twists and turns, and the film gets a little more complex as the film goes on, as you realize who's doing all of this and why. And I feel like the film delivers a really intriguing finale that stands out among the rest of the film, where it's very straightforward kind of thriller with some different kinds of moral decisions that your main character has to make. But at the end, I feel like that gave it a little bit of a boost for me that made this, instead of just something that, okay, I watched it, it was fine, I was entertained, to something a little bit like, okay, I like this. I like this a little bit more. And this is something that I might revisit or I might recommend because it gives an extra layer. Something a little bit more unexpected to add some grayness to what could have been already just a plain black and white kind of thriller. And in the end, there's some shoddy effects when you get bigger than just inside this van and stuff like that, but there's plenty of thrills, there's enough twists and enough grayness to make it a little bit more interesting than just a forgettable kind of thriller. So honestly, I'm not surprised this is blowing up a little bit on Netflix because, it's an hour and 45 minutes, you could stream it on Netflix, and it's an entertaining and thrilling time. But those are my thoughts on Below Zero. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.